Hello, chemistry students. My name is Mr. Adam, this is chemistry, and welcome to my bonus project video. So I wanted to take a couple minutes to explain today what this whole build a molecule project is that I just sent you some information on, and tell you what we're looking for, show you a few examples of ways that you could build molecules really easily and cheaply. So the build a molecule project, I should have just sent you an email or made a post talking about it, is this project where we are actually creating our own molecules and showing what we know about them. So I want to tell you a little bit about how I got this idea and what we're kind of looking for. So the other day, I was thinking to myself about chemistry class, right? And the number one thing I missed, besides all of you, was getting to do actual hands-on activities, right? To build and watch you create things, to watch you learn something new in the lab or explore something that we can't actually see for ourselves through creation of something, right? Through the creation of a model or a metaphor, because often in chemistry, the things that we talk about, we can't actually see, right? We can't see atoms and molecules. So when I thought about all this, I decided that I needed to make up something that you could do at home and that could show me that you have all been learning and understand a little bit about these molecules that we've been talking about. I know it's tough coming to chemistry class day in and day out and only doing readings and watching videos and taking quizzes. So my idea here is that you show me what you know, not through a quiz or an assignment, but by actually creating something and talking to me about molecules and how atoms connect together. Okay? And so, when I thought about all this, I decided to create this build a molecule activity, right? I've sent you an activity sheet to read through to kind of orient you with this activity. But the idea of this is simple. We're building molecules, showing that we know how they connect together, and talking about the important parts of them and how they connect to smell. So we've assembled this list of molecules for you to choose from. Each one of them has a unique structural formula and they all have distinct smells. We've also listed the name and the functional group for each of them, and that should tell you something about how they're going to smell. So step one in this activity is you're going to look at that list, that molecule list, and you're going to pick your very own molecule. So you're going to pick your favorite molecule on that list. You could pick a smell you like, you could pick a name you like, you could pick something that looks cool, and you're going to be building that molecule and talking about it. Obviously, build a molecule, we're building a molecule. So step two, this is going to be the most important one to get started on right away, as soon as you can, hopefully this week, early this week. You're going to have to gather some materials to build these molecules. For this activity, you're going to want to build your molecule from cheap, easy to find materials. Maybe something that you already have in the house or something that you can find in the grocery store really easily. I know I went out today to Giant Eagle and I found my molecule building materials for less than $5. So if that's an option for you, that shouldn't be too much trouble to go spend a couple bucks and find those materials. So for these materials, you'll need two different types of materials. You will need something for the atoms that you're connecting together and something for the bonds that actually hold them all together, right? So your pieces for the atoms should be something that you can connect together, and they should be probably a different color from each other. They could be a different size or shape or something else, but generally it's going to be easy if they're a different color from each other, right? And these should be things that you can stick bonds into, connect together, or stick bonds onto. They should be able to be connected. The second thing is your bonds need to be connector pieces, right? Things that will hold those atoms together. So they need to be able to stick into the atoms and rigid enough to hold your molecules together. If you're wondering what the heck I'm saying, there's already a list of suggested materials in that sheet that I sent you, the activity sheet. So check those suggestions out. But for me, I found some things really easily at Giant Eagle today, and you can probably find things that you already have around your house. So I found some multicolored marshmallows and some jujubes, which I have here, right? I have my marshmallows, my jujubes. These work perfectly well for building a molecule. And for connectors, you can use something like these cool bamboo skewers that I found for really cheap at 100-pack at Giant Eagle, or you can use the classic toothpicks, you can use straws, all sorts of things that you can use to connect those together. So make sure you have things for your atoms and for your bonds. If you have a chance this week, try to go out to a grocery store safely, of course. Make sure you're following all the safety procedures, or ask your parents to pick you some stuff up from the grocery store at some point. Get some building materials. Okay, so you have your molecule, you have your building materials. Now step three, obviously, is to build your molecule, right? So you're going to need to build your molecule. Once you've decided on your molecule and you have your materials, you're going to need to put it all together. So first thing you want to do is look on your molecule list, look at the structural formula you have there, right? Check it out and see what elements you have. You want to decide on a color or a shape for each of those elements. So maybe if I'm using marshmallows, I'm going to decide that, okay, my orange marshmallow here, if you can see that that is orange, is going to be carbon, right? My green one is going to be hydrogen, and my red one, pink one, is going to be oxygen, okay? First up, you need to make sure that you have enough of each element to build your molecule, right? So if your molecule has 10 carbons, you need to make sure you have 10 orange marshmallows ready to go, okay? Second step is going to be to start putting it together, right? Connecting it together with bonds. So you need to remember that you need to use multiple connectors if you have something called a double bond or a triple bond, and you want to do your best to represent the real shape of the molecule when actually building it, right? And I'll tell you what I mean about that in a second. So I take my green atom, whatever that is, carbon maybe, and my red atom, hydrogen, and kind of stick them together and start sticking them together and building this molecule, right? So when I said real shape of the molecule, what I mean by that is if you remember, this whole time we've been talking about molecular shape and how things form different shapes like tetrahedral and bent and pyramidal and linear. And they form these depending on the number of electron domains around an atom. So when you make your molecule, you want to do the best you can to represent those real shapes because you will have to talk about those shapes when you're doing your presentation for this, right? Okay, so we're not looking for every shape in this molecule and this whole molecule to be perfect. Lord knows I could not make this perfect when I tried, but you should make an attempt to not just connect everything together in a straight line because you'll have to call attention to those shapes later. So here are a few examples, I'll try this, of molecules that I put together. So over here on this side, see it? Yeah, you can see it. Over here on this side, we have carbone. And so on this molecule, I made it out of colored marshmallows and toothpicks, okay? And on the right here, we have this molecule called fenchol. It's made of juji fruits and these cool little bamboo skewers that I cut into smaller pieces. So each of these took about 10 to 15 minutes to make, and you'll notice that they're just a little bit three-dimensional, right? So there's an attempt made to show real molecular shapes. So right here, this marshmallow is sticking up. This over here has this double bonded oxygen. It looks like kind of a triangle. It would be called trigonal planar. And this one has the kind of bridge shape here in fenchol. So the lesson here is that we want you to attempt to make real shapes and build a 3D molecule. But at the end of the day, all we're asking is you to do your best with this. So make sure you include all the atoms in the structural formula, make an attempt at making a molecular shape, and have fun with it. Okay, so that's step 3. You're done building your molecule. You did an awesome job. It looks really cool and you're proud of it. Step 4 is the final step. So you can build a molecule, sure, but what can you tell me about it, right? For step 4, you're going to need to present your molecule, and there are a bunch of ways that you can do that. So you're going to make some sort of presentation. It can be a poster, it could be a video, it could be a PowerPoint. You could make a poster where you feature the molecule in the middle. You could create a video talking about that molecule, or you could make a PowerPoint where the slides have pictures of the molecule and you're talking about the different aspects of it. You could even write a poem. You could do anything you want to for the presentation as long as you're including these several important aspects that we're asking. So whatever you intend to do, as long as your teacher approves it, it's fine. All that matters is that in this presentation, you talk about these following required points, okay? So in your presentation, point number 1, real easy. You should identify the molecule's name. So tell us what it's called. If you're speaking, recording a video, try to look up a pronunciation of it. Give it your best shot, though. Whatever you do, just give it your best shot when you're pronouncing it. Step 2, you're going to show the molecular formula. So we've given you the structural formula showing how it's built and put together, but give us the list of atoms, right? So how many carbons, hydrogens, and oxygens in there are there? Is it C3H8O? Is it C8H18N? Right? Tell us what the molecular formula is. Either write it down or say it at some point. Step 3, this is really important. Identify functional groups in the molecule, right? This one is important. You want to make sure to highlight or show us where the functional group is and talk about what elements and atoms are included in that functional group. So make sure your functional group matches what's on the molecule list. It's already given to you, but you want to show that functional group and tell us this is where it is, this is what atoms are included in, right? Step 4, you should talk about the shape around one specific atom in your molecule. For example, you could pick a carbon that has 4 atoms bonded to it. So if I look at my molecule here, right? If I look at a carbon that has 4 atoms bonded to it, just gonna throw out my tablet, it's fine. Then you can see right here that this atom has kind of a tetrahedral shape around it, right? 1, 2, 3 bonds, and then 4, that hydrogen going up. So you want to talk about the shape around one specific atom in your molecule, and talk about the number of bonds it has, the number of electron domains, and what shape it makes based on that atom. You want to pick something interesting here. Make sure you're showing your teacher that you get molecular shape, right? That you understand what happens with electron domains in the molecular shape. That's one of the big things that we're looking for in this project. Okay. Number 5, you should talk about the overall shape of the molecule, right? It could be stringy, frying pan shaped, it could be ball shaped, any of the shapes that we've talked about in class. So for example, this molecule here, we can say it's kind of ball shaped, and we can see that this atom sticking up here kind of gives it this ball shape if it were a little bit better of a 3D representation. So talk about the overall shape of the molecule, and you're going to want to talk about what that means, okay? So for part 6, step 6, you're going to want to talk about the smell of the molecule and why it smells that way. So when I say talking about what the overall shape means, you're going to want to talk about how the overall shape, or maybe the functional group, contributes to how that molecule smells, right? So you might want to say, okay, this is ball shaped, so it's going to smell camphory or piney, right? So when you do this, make sure you're talking about the smell, why it smells that way, what's contributing to it. Make sure to be specific and show what you know. Okay? And that's it. And I know that sounds like a lot. I know I just talked about a lot, showed a couple of different examples, but I'll tell you this. To build each one of these molecules, it took me about 10 to 15 minutes. Gathering materials took about 5. And the presentation shouldn't take you much more than 10, 15 minutes, right? If you're recording a video or making a poster. So in total, this is actually going to take less time and be a lot more fun than taking a day to review and take a quiz. So logistics of this and why you might want to do this. If you complete this project and send it to me by next Tuesday, April 12th, you do not have to do the Unit 2 Section 2 quiz. This is a replacement for that, and you're exempt from it. This project, if you give it your best effort and you meet our criteria, will replace that quiz. And personally, I think it'll be way more fun. You'll have to submit 2 things to me. So you have to submit a picture of your molecule so I can see how it's built, and you'll have to submit a presentation in which you talk about the different parts of the molecule, which I just outlined. Its functional group, its shape, its smell, etc. So I'm going to post an assignment on Google Classroom soon, and it will remind you of what you need to submit, as well as having the assignment sheet, rubric, molecule list, and everything that you'll need. If you have any questions, need any help, ideas, or suggestions, as always, you know I'm available to you. You can email me, you can find me on Google Meet during or outside of my office hours. Just let me know, and I'll be happy to help you. That's all for now. If you're interested, go ahead and start gathering your materials this week, so that way you have plenty of time to build your molecule and put your presentation together. Good luck, have fun, keep working hard, and I'm looking forward to seeing your molecules soon. All right, I'll talk to you later, guys.